Thank you, Amber. Appreciate the introduction there. As Amber indicated, today we'll be covering BC, as we call it for short. So D365 Business Central is known in the Microsoft community as BC at a high level. So my intention is to show you the user navigation, some of those additional components around the experience, and then I'm going to get into a very high level financials demo. Of course, if you have additional questions, put them through the queue here and we'll be able to try to get them answered today. In subsequent webinars, we'll be covering full distribution, manufacturing, and other components of the solution. So if you don't see what you want today, certainly you might see it in another webinar, or you can reach out to your customer account manager or account executive, and we can put together a very specific detailed demo for you and your organization. So hi everyone, my name is Jason Schaefer, and without further ado, here's our agenda for today. I do want to touch on Crestwood a little bit. Most of you know who we are, as we're representing you on GP, SL, or Greentree. But I want to update you on a couple of things about our organization, because you may not know everything that we do and how that can actually come together today to help you as you evaluate Business Central. I will do a quick product demonstration as well, and talk about at the end, I'll come back to PowerPoint and talk about this promotion that has everybody really excited, and it is unprecedented. As I've seen in this industry, it is not something that has been offered before over the last 10 years, so I'm excited about it. Now, you do know us at Crestwood here for some of the awards we've won. We've been in business for over 20 years. Gold certified Microsoft partner, won numerous awards through Bob Scott and some inner circle awards, specifically from Microsoft. But the key here is that Crestwood is committed to Microsoft and the Dynamics product lines. So if you decide to stay on GP or SL, that's fine. We'll continue to support you. If you decide to move and migrate to this new product, BC, we can help you through that process as well. So our seasoned consultants who have been through many implementations will be here with you to help ensure that this transition is smooth and that you're going live and leveraging as much as you can out of the application. So just know that you're in good hands, as always. Now, we did move, just for your own information, we did move to a new building. We moved from Des Plaines into Schaumburg. We were really excited about that, and believe it or not, it was pre-COVID, and we got the keys in April to the new space and haven't been able to use it yet. So eventually, we'll be doing more of these events in person. Of course, we want to do it when it's safe for everybody from that perspective. So look for that from our marketing department about those events that are coming up here. Also, we've moved to the cloud, and this hasn't been as recent, certainly, but it's important to understand that Crestwood, from a Microsoft perspective, can support your back office, with Office 365 and Microsoft's Power Apps. So Flow is now Power Automate. We work with Power BI, with Power Apps. So we can help you automate your organization, even if it's outside of the world of Dynamics. And then we have our second component, we call it our three clouds, the Microsoft Azure cloud, where we're hosting a lot of our GP customers who are deciding to stay on the application or SL on our Crestwood cloud so that their environment is safe and secure. We know that cyber threats and hacking is a huge threat nowadays with the ransomware. And our Crestwood cloud it helps our customers, secure their environment so they're not getting attacked, and if they are attacked, that they have reliable backups that are safe. And by the way, we have had no hacks on the Crestwood cloud. We know that when customers do put their environments on their own servers, it's a little bit less secure, just because the servers aren't being updated and the firmware for the different drivers are not being kept up to date. And then the third cloud is Business Central, which is the focus of this topic, and will help me kind of talk about this environment. The key with Business Central is it does coexist with like Office 365. You'll see today I'll spend a little bit of time in Outlook because there's a great connector for the accounting department in Outlook, so you can work with customers and vendors and process in Outlook like you were in the Business Central application. It also works with Excel and Microsoft Word, Power Automate. So Microsoft is really taking what they call the modern workplace with these kind of three clouds and bringing everything together and helping them work alongside each other so your back office, can be more productive, especially with COVID and folks being at home, not back in the office fully yet. These tools work through browsers. They work without having to be in the office, which is really key and a big differentiator as it relates to some of these legacy on-prem solutions. Now, a little bit about the licensing in the world of BC. There's 3 unique licensing types or SKUs that you can buy. There's the Essentials user, which is everything you see denoted here in orange. Now, there's over 100 modules here, and you get all of these modules when you license a named Essentials user. So you can see it's got everything for financials. We've got advanced intercompany. There's even embedded artificial intelligence, which we're going to look at today, which is actually the application learning from itself and learning from the history that starts to be created. There's a light CRM for tracking your leads and your opportunities and your customers and contacts and prospective customers. There are components for project accounting and full distribution. There's even advanced warehouse management and other modules out of the box. So we're not going to obviously touch on all of these today, but no, with that Essentials license, you do get access to all of these modules. Now, if you're a true manufacturer or somebody who needs service management, you'll see that you do need to move up to the premium SKU in order to get those modules. So the premium is everything you see in Essentials plus those additional modules that you see listed there in blue. It is important to note as an organization, you do not mix and match between Essentials and premium users. You're either all Essentials or all premium users when it comes to those 2 SKUs. Now, the team user is sort of like your light user, somebody who would log in, maybe enter a timesheet or approve. You'll see today we'll have some workflow approvals. An approver, they can even create and edit quotes. They can create and edit their own personal information, and they can change records, but they can't create a purchase order. They would need to be just altering it. So a Teams user is very inexpensive. It's meant to be given to management or time-based users from that perspective. So that's a little bit about the licensing. Now you'll see here I don't have any pricing because as an existing customer, you're not going to be paying list price if you go with this promotion, which I will touch on the end. So how is BC different and what are the benefits? Well, it is offered through Microsoft as a SaaS solution. Where if today you've licensed GP and now you're paying your EP or your annual maintenance, you're paying that small percentage to get access to updates, but then you have to maintain your server or go to somebody like Crestwood where we're putting you on Azure, but then you have to do that kind of upgrades manually. So in the SaaS world, there's no hardware to upkeep because Microsoft is hosting the environment for you. They're also automatically rolling out their major enhancements. They have 2 major enhancements a year. The spring release, for example, was massive. There were hundreds of new features, which is great. So this is the benefit of being with a product that's up and coming versus a GP or an SL that's a little bit more, developed. They're not really adding to it. Well, BC, hopefully you'll see that it's exciting today and there's a lot of features, but the roadmap for BC is very bright. So as your business changes and grows, hopefully the Business Central product does too. You'll see here too that out of the box, there's great reporting, but there's a whole marketplace called App Source where you can, like a smartphone, download a third party, plug it into your environment, and you're off and running. So the old ISV infrastructure, though those ISVs have mostly moved to App Source, the old school way of kind of licensing it and connecting it to your environment has been modernized in the world of BC, which is really exciting. And of course, there are predefined connectors to things such as Power BI for business intelligence. You'll see that there's the AI or the artificial intelligence that also has connectors. So Microsoft has done a great job of helping the environment or take the data out of BC and present it in other tools to help you make meaningful decisions with data that's in the ERP. Now, of course, out of the box workflow is available. And depending on the solution and the version you're on of a legacy application, you may not have some of those capabilities. So that's a big thumbs up. And of course, what's also really great is the access on the mobile device. So if you have an iPhone or an Android type device, there's a mobile app that you can download and log in with your same username and password and get access to your environment for seeing data, dashboards, and even creating transactions. So in the end, this becomes a real return on investment because it's a smaller subscription to get you rolling, and then the whole organization can log in and collaborate. You're going to save time, no rekeying data. There's open APIs for integrating with other applications when you need to do that. And so your back office will become more efficient, ultimately saving you money. So how does that all translate to, say, or compare, if you will, to something like a GP? Well, if you're a GP user, and this is pretty much the same for SL as well, you'll see here that we're moving to the SaaS model where you're not going to be paying that big in GP where you're buying the software and then paying the annual maintenance. You've got the kind of similar SKUs with the full and limited user in the world of GP, but here in Business Central, they're called the Premium and Essentials. But yeah, I'm not going to like bore you by going through each one of these. I'll kind of call it a couple of key areas. You know, functionally, we see there's more modules available in Business Central. Also, the chart of accounts is much different. So in the GP world and the SL world, you have the account and the segments attached to the account or the sub account. In the world of Business Central, it's a true separate dimension for each one of your additional parameters, such as a department or a profit center or a product line. So you can add those dimensions and then slice and dice on the back end to get like a P&L by product line because of that dimensional capability. But again, the roadmap is also key. You've got an indefinite roadmap for Business Central, very bright future, whereas on the other product lines, they're sort of dying out from that perspective, which is why Microsoft is kind of giving you this really key incentive to getting you to BC. So that being said, I don't want to bore us here too much in PowerPoint. Got one or two more slides. The key here is today we're spending 100% of our time in the cloud on the web browser. We'll even go to the mobile device as well. But this is an all-in-one, fully integrated business solution. So the modules talk to each other. We're not looking at, a bunch of third parties that were bought over the years that were cobbled together. So it's from a purist perspective, it's one single architecture. And of course, you'll see here we can work with all the different productivity apps that you'll see from that modern workplace, such as Outlook, Power BI. And of course, we don't have contracts when you license BC, so you get to get in, pay by month, add users, take them away. Microsoft's done a really great job of modernizing that and making it more user-friendly. So without further ado, I will stop the PowerPoint and click over to my web browser and begin the Business Central demonstration. Now, I do have a couple of, I've got two web browsers open. So I'm going to spend the most of my time in Microsoft Edge here, but when I do need to log in as a different user and make an approval through workflow, I'll be using Google Chrome. I don't care what you use. Any modern browser is supported from that perspective. And you'll see here now, when I log into Business Central, as I have in the background here, I'm my administrator, my mod administrator. So I get access to everything under the sun. But you'll see here, as I show you here on the gear, with your user, you can have different roles and log in and out of different roles. So today I'll be spending most of the time as a business manager, but out of the box, the solution comes with like an accountant or an administrator, and each one of these roles will have a different dashboard when you log in and present you with the different menus to help you navigate effectively. Also too, it comes with unlimited companies. So in my demo system today, I'll be focused as Kronos USA, but if you have multiple companies and intercompany, that is fully supported in the application. Also too, BC is just part of your waffle for Office 365. So if you're already on Office 365, it uses the admin panel. So as you need to add users to BC, it's not a separate space to control your users and those that access. So if you're an administrator on Office 365, that's really key. And BC just shows up in here as Dynamics 365. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice right away when I log into BC is I'm presented with a dashboard. Now these dashboards are flexible. You can kind of play around with what you want to see and what you don't. You can change what these are called cues. They're meant to be visual indicators tracking different trends or KPIs that are going on within the organization. You can see here if I drop this little caret down, I can set up new cues. I can close out and delete other cues that I don't care about. I can also set the low range and the middle range and the high range for what would be an unfavorable or ambiguous or favorable cue. So the key is to set these according to what's kind of relevant for my organization. And then when you log in, you'll immediately get like, oh, this is going well. We've got overdue sales is only 63,000. We were expecting it to be around 100,000. That's why I'm seeing it as green. So you can set those up. You also see at the top here, I've got this little scroll bar that's showing me the best-selling items. You know, I click through these, who's my top customer and what they paid and bought. Anytime you see this kind of bluish or greenish hyperlink, you can drill into this to see the source information, which is key. You also see these tiles below as well. If I wanted to like interrogate these 4 sales orders, I just click the tile, and then the BC solution will take me to those records, and then I can drill in further to see that sales order. You'll notice here too, as I start clicking and drilling in, that the BC solution will do kind of a cascade. So I can always click back to get to that previous window, or click back to get to the dashboard. And that was something that the customers were asking for in a previous edition that just kind of came out. So that was really key here. Also too, if there's things that you do commonly, you'll see here this little plus indicates I can enter a new sales quote or a new sales order right here on my dashboard. And then of course you can even do reports and group those, and drop this down and see different financial statements. There are full Excel-based reports as well that help you take your financial information, get it into Excel. A lot of folks will do that with like budgeting, and then they'll bring it back into the BC application. So it is a two-way street with a lot of these different applications. Now, one of the other things that are really important, as you get up to speed and you're starting to learn a new ERP, is training materials and help. So you'll see that there's this little question mark. Help is available throughout the application. You'll see down here that there's even product videos right here on the dashboard. So you can click on this and learn how to create a new job or how to work with Excel. There's a lot of great little videos you can click on to help you learn, and these will actually learn about D365 Business Central. This will actually launch a YouTube video that you can go out and watch and educate yourself from that perspective. So a lot of that, by the way, is helpful for us as a reseller. So well, it's helpful for you too, because you're not calling us and we're not having to train you and you don't get a bill for it. But the key is this isn't that hard, a lot of this. Now, there's still times, obviously, you're going to call us and we're going to definitely help you get over the finish line on the implementation. But there are a lot of great tools to help you be somewhat independent of us as it relates to some of the more simplistic things in the ERP. So that's kind of a quick flavor on the dashboard. Some of these are like charts and grids and views. This is a cash flow view by month. But if I was more interested in seeing it by week, I can drop this down, and you'll see here that the period changes, and now it goes by week. You can even scroll through different charts right here in the same panel. So this is an income and expense view by month, which is kind of interesting. And I keep navigating through to get another view. This is an age receivables. I like this. And again, I can drill into this, and this is kind of going by week. So a lot of these, by the way, are secretly, I'll call it, behind the scenes Power BI, which is Microsoft's business intelligence tool. So there's a bunch of predefined, I think it's over 50 at this point. Here's some charts. These ones are actually the Power BI ones that are kind of preset for you. So you just plug them in and you can use them. And then, if you want a unique one that's not out of the box, you can call Crestwood and we'll build one with you, or you can build them yourself. You'll see this will kind of scroll through some other options as well. So the dashboards are interactive. You can control what's on them. This one's now showing you the kind of the top items, and again, you can click into it to see more information. Over here, you'll see a little trial balance, some more timesheets if you were using that for tracking time. You have a report inbox, so you can have reports run and they're showing up on your inbox. Maybe you're having that morning cup of coffee and you're wanting to review your key reports. So that's a little bit of a flavor of the dashboard. And that's one way to get around the system. Of course, the more traditional way is using the menus. So if I wanted to do something in finance, maybe look at my chart of accounts, you'll see that this drop down based on my role will show me what's related to each subsection or sub menu there in the ribbon. There is this little view all button that you'll see in the right hand corner that will show you everything the business manager would have in the menus in one kind of look and feel, if that's your preference. Some people want to see it all in one place. And of course, I have to mention this little magnifying glass. This is like a quick little global search here. I can type in dimension or start to type it in, and it's going to find in the menus and the tasks, so the pages, it'll find reports. It'll even find help documentation. So the help, you'll see I'll use this too when I'm doing a demo, a deeper dive. Somebody asks a question, and I'll just type it in and go there instead of hunting and pecking through the menus, because I don't think it's very valuable to try and memorize menus in the ERP. So I think this is a big improvement. Even up here If you think of GP, for example, there's a lot of that nesting, so you kind of have to go across the screen to get to the window you want. So they've done a good job of grouping like kind information up here, and then of course you can do the search to help you get quickly to what you're looking for as well. Now you'll see this little cloud, intelligent cloud insights. One of the big keys here in this promotion to getting you from GP or SL to BC is that they're going to leverage this intelligent cloud to get all of your data out of GP, for example, and into BC. Not all of your data, but most of your data, the key records like the master files, the historical accounts by, account balance by period, and even your chart of accounts. So they'll take that legacy chart of accounts and using this migration tool, bring it into BC and actually sync up those two environments even while you're implementing, so you can actually get your live environment data into BC on an ongoing basis. But I brought this up to show you a little bit about this, artificial intelligence. So you can enable the AI, and then what happens is it actually looks across your customers. So pretend you offer a customer net 30 payment terms. Well, I wish all customers paid on time. As we know in the world of accounting, they typically don't. But the AI will start to see which customers owe you money, how often they're paying you, and how frequently they're paying you, and it will give you these sort of insights based upon that historical data. So instead of just reading a report kind of, oh, this is due, well, we know that it is due, but they're likely not going to pay it for another 15 days, so we shouldn't anticipate that cash. So the AI is really clever in that regard. It's learning. You'll see in here, there's additional, Power BI reports and KPIs under this, sub-menu. I just wanted to call that out to show you that Microsoft is really, I think, taking the world of ERP and moving it forward with integrating with things such as AI and other capabilities. You'll see here too, in my demo environment, as I go back to my workspace here, or my main dashboard, there's this whole concept of extensions. This ultimately will get you to what I talked about there in the slide deck, which is app source. So in this demo system, like, it comes pre-packaged with the Yodlee bank feed. So whether you're using, Chase or JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, you can actually log in with your banking credentials in here and actually import transactions or bank statements, so you can do your bank reconciliation. So that comes kind of predefined using that tool. There's a number of others that I have turned on in this demo system. There's a migration tool for QuickBooks and other things like that. But if I needed to go out further, I can go to the extensions marketplace, and this will actually pop open in a separate window. And of course, if you have to have your pop-up blocker turned off. So let's try that again. And try it again. There we go. So this will actually open up App Source for Business Central. You'll see here, and it's just going to show you all the different apps that are available. So I think last week when I did this, there was 845 roughly. Now there's 855. So several others have been added since last week. And you'll see here that it really runs the gamut. And you can, further filter based upon a category. Maybe you're looking for things for like sales tax, and you can either search or slice and dice it. But you'll see there's a number for integrating e-commerce, taking credit cards, calculating and collecting for sales tax. Like Avalara is a common one, a popular one. And so, out of the box, if there's something that's missing in BC, it's usually taken care of in the app source, and you can click the free trial to try it out. Typically there's a license fee for most of these. Others will have like a free trial or a free version. So just know that if you don't see something in here that you would expect, that likely a third party has added that through the app source in the Microsoft world. All right, so that's a little bit about the navigation. I talked about the dashboard. I talked about how to get around. Next, I want to move into a couple of key features that work alongside the BC solution. One being the mobile app. So with the mobile app, and what I'm going to do here, it's a little fun, I think, depending on your definition of fun, I guess. Let me go ahead and I'm going to bring open my cell phone, and I'm going to actually mirror it to my screen here. So what I've done is I put my cell phone onto my PC, and now you're seeing as I scroll with my thumb that I'm on the BC Business Central mobile app. So That same dashboard that we logged in and saw some information, or similar information, I should say, is right here at the fingertips on the mobile app. So this isn't an additional fee. It ships with the system. And you can see, like, if I thought this 63,890, that same overdue sales amount was interesting and I wanted to research it more, I can actually click into the tile. Here we can see at the top here, this customer owes us 19,944. So let's click on that record. You can see, oh, yep, that's the School of the Fine Arts. You know, they did reach out. I remember let us know that they would be slow paying us on this just because they've slowed down with COVID. So, you know, whatever the scenario is, you can see that, you know, get to that source transaction and information. So I thought that was kind of cool just to show the mobile app. You'll see here, if I keep scrolling through, those same dashboards and views or charts are available here on the mobile app. And I can kind of click through some examples there. Here's some setup guides and some help. And finally, there's that trial balance. You can even, by the way, create transactions. So a new document right here from the mobile. It also integrates with the camera. So if you were needing to take a picture, for example, I think that's on my main dashboard. There it is, create an incoming document from the camera. So it will leverage the native paginations of the cell phone to help you work more productively, whether you're at home or in the office. So thought I'd show that as a little bit of a teaser and show you how Microsoft is really, you know, giving you additional functionality with the smartphone and the mobile app. Next, I want to hit on another really powerful feature and an interesting feature, especially with folks who are in Outlook a lot. So what I've done here is, in a separate browser tab, I've got Outlook open. Now, it's my demo system, and as the mod administrator, you can see I'm not very popular. I only have 4 emails, but what I wanted to do is show you this capability. So I've got an email here. Now, this is just a kind of a standard email when I set up this demo environment, but it does have some pretend, you know, put it on your imagination, you know, use your imagination here. Pretend we got a customer who emailed us something, and they are interested in a swivel chair and a conference room table. So in my demo system, a lot of the demo data is around a furniture company. Well, when I get an email, I can click this little ellipse, and this can be from any customer or even from a vendor. And you'll see here, if I click Business Central and say, let's get some insights here. So who's sending me this email? And of course, it's going to log me in using my credentials into the Business Central application, and it's going to look at the email address. So this came from Contoso, and it's going to say, yep, I found it. You know, in this case, in the demo scenario, it's Adantum. But I found this customer in your system. I can see, by the way, if they have an outstanding balance, and if it's outstanding, is it past due, and even their year-to-date sales and period-to-date sales. And I could drill into this. So right here in Outlook, I'm getting a mini snapshot of this customer. I could even look at any ongoing sales orders and drill into those right here in Outlook, but that's not good enough. Next, I actually want to go and create a quote or create a sales order because they maybe sent me an email. I can click this little plus and say, all right, let's create a new sales invoice. And it's actually, at this point, scrubbing the email. It sees that there's some text in this email where the customer is requesting a swivel chair and a table, and I can actually take these suggested items that this Business Central system found and create that transaction. So now I've got a sales invoice 102224 for Adantum Corporation, and it's already back here in Business Central. So if I come over here and look at sales and go to navigate to sales invoices, I can see this 2224, it's already been created, and I can drill into it. So without having to leave Outlook, I can interact with customers. I can get insights here, and it's created that 7 chairs. It actually created a blank line here just based upon me opening it, but I can delete that line, and I can go ahead and process this through the rest of the application or the rest of the process. So hopefully it's somewhat interesting to you, in that you can now do a lot of work. If you're spending time in Outlook, there's a great capability for you to get information without having to bounce over back and forth. Next, I thought I'd jump into accounts payable to just show you that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and exit. Anytime you do exit and you haven't posted something, it'll let you know. It's okay. It's not going to delete anything. So I can go ahead and leave this. Maybe I'll handle that after the webinar. I'll finish that process. But next, I wanted to jump into accounts payable. So under purchasing, you'll see you've got your vendors. And we can take a look at the vendors. just to show you what a vendor file looks like. The navigation is very consistent throughout Business Central. So once you understand it, for example, on the vendor side, you should be able to understand it on the customer side. What I'll do is click on this first up consultants vendor, and I'll click the blue hyperlink, and it will take me to this vendor's master file. Now, a couple of things. Being in a web browser, screen real estate is key. So Microsoft is only showing you what's most important or most relevant as to this vendor. Anytime, for example, I wanted to see more information under a particular section, I can say show more, and you'll see additional fields will open up. So that's available throughout the different ribbons you'll see here. And again, we're trying to save screen real estate, and you can pull things up into that kind of quick menu if there's something that you use that Microsoft doesn't typically show you. So that's okay. It's a little bit more configurable from that perspective. But you'll see here, you can show images. A lot of times folks are not showing pictures of their vendors, but maybe their logo, giving you that visual indicator about which vendor you're on. Again, you'll get a little, using this, it's called a fact box. It's a pane here that you can show or not show or hide, and that will open up the screen for you. But you'll be able to see their balance. You can drill into outstanding orders and get information right here off of this fact box. So you'll see this is a quick example of a vendor. Also at the top here, you can run various reports. You'll see here there's under navigate additional capabilities. So this will take you to kind of related parts or entities as it relates to this vendor. So depending on what you're looking for, you'll be able to find it up here in the menu. Here under the vendor, you can see their transactions, any entries they've made, their statistical analysis, any comments or notes that maybe somebody added. Of course, you've got attachments throughout the application as well. So that's a kind of a quick little view on the vendor. It looks much the same on the customer side. So what I'll do next is, I thought I might enter a quick little purchase invoice, which is a bill, in the BC solution. So we'll go ahead and say, let's go over here and say, we can go to the navigate to look at existing purchases or quotes. But what I might do is just click back here and say, I'm going to do create a new document because I'm highlighted the first up consultants, and say we're going to do a new purchase invoice. Now this opens up a new invoice. It is blank, and you do have line type. So it's kind of the key things have filled in. We know we came from first up consultants, so the vendor's already selected. I have a default or primary contact named Evan McIntosh that's available. I could certainly switch that if there were multiple contacts at this vendor. It is requiring with this red asterisk indicating a mandatory field. So we can go ahead and type in the bill number. Of course, this is checking for duplicates, so you don't pay a bill twice. And it's in the open status. The status changes as this document is processed. And if you're using like approval workflows and whatnot, the status will align with the status of the approval. And instead of going and entering an item, what I might do is go directly to a GL account. So we'll go ahead and hit a GL account. And I think I've got advertising in here as an option. So we've done some advertising with this consulting group. They've placed some ads for us. And we can just call it, let's call it $1,000. Okay, so we've got our transaction. Now, if I wanted to go, and of course I could add more lines, but if I wanted to post it, kind of, releasing it to the general ledger, it's going to yell at me and says, hey, you can't do that, Jason. You have to have this approved before it can be released, before that action can be performed. So what I can do is run this through an approval request. And you'll notice when I do that, it locks the record, and it says it's pending approval. This is, by the way, where I'm going to do a little quick switch to my Google Chrome browser, and we're going to go and look at, I've logged in here as Kelly Kraut. Kelly is, call it an approver or a manager, and she'll be the one who will actually process that approval. So it looks very much the same on her dashboard. You'll see here, though, we've got Kelly in the right-hand corner, different user. And if I scroll down, you'll notice that there's a request waiting my approval. So I can click on this tile. And here, sure enough, is our first up consultants purchase invoice. I could drill into it to see more information. opening the record. I could see any comments that were made or make comments myself. I could reject it, or I could be a good manager and approve it. And that then is done. And you'll see here now my little tile is 0. So I'm done with my approvals for the day, and I can go about my business. So that was a quick little demonstration of how the approvals can work. You'll also be able to send approval emails, which could have notified Kelly in her inbox that there was an approval waiting for her. You can also run those approval requests through a job queue, so you're not having to manually submit it to Kelly every time you're trying to release a document or post a document from that perspective. So just know that's available in the background. So I'm going to go back to Internet Explorer here, and we'll keep moving. You'll see here now that if I go here to go and post this transaction, it will post. And it'll say, do you want to post it? I'll say yes, and it'll work it through. Now it does ask, hey, do you want to review this transaction in the posted state? I could say yes, and actually see just the locked purchase invoice that has been posted. Some folks will want to use this navigate button to see the vendor record. You'll see if you come over here under this navigate, you'll be able to view some statistics, if there were any dimensions that it hit. There's more you can do from here as it relates to this transaction. Okay. All right. Well, we have about 20 minutes left, and I want to show the general ledger and just talk a little bit about it, and then we can finish with that last slide and talk about the promotion. And of course, if any questions have submitted, we'll get those answered. But I do want to talk a little bit about the general ledger and how it's different than a GP or an SL. So you'll see here, if I go to the chart of accounts, if you're today segmenting your chart of accounts, your account list is likely a lot larger than this chart of accounts. And in the world of BC, we're trying to reserve the chart for your natural account. So your asset, your liability, your income, your expense account. Okay. You'll see in my demo system here that it's 5 characters. My assets are 1,000. My liabilities, I think, are 20,000, 10,000 and 20,000, excuse me. And even in this little view, I can see the net change, the balance of the account. And again, I could drill in to see those source transactions, which is kind of fun. Now, you might be saying, well, Jason, I do more than just track the natural. I want to see the profit center. I want to see the department. I want to see the product line. I mean, we can absolutely track that, but it's not going to be concatenated alongside your natural account using segmentation. That will be done through what we call a dimension. So let's go ahead and under finance, show you in my demo system what the dimensions are or how they've been set up. Now in my demo, I'm just tracking 2 dimensions, customer group and department. Again, you can have 2 of these, you can have 5 of them, you can have 7 of them. But most aren't going to have that many. But the dimension is a way you can then, when you're doing data entry, tag the natural account and then any related department code, for example. So if I hover over department and I want to go take a quick peek here at the dimension values, you'll see here that in my demo system, my department has really just 3. I don't see IT, I don't see additional departments. But what's fun about these, or really what's important about these dimensions is, 1, you can create the relationship between the natural account and the chart of accounts and the available dimensions that you can use. So for example, I'd like to give this, if I'm entering a sales transaction, I should not be able to select a dimension for the IT department because IT doesn't have any sales. So you can restrict that relationship, which is 1. 2, you can actually restrict the relationship between the dimensions. So something called dimension combination. So for example, in a specific department or region, I might not have a certain product sale because that product isn't offered there for whatever reason. Maybe it's environmental reasons. Well, I can restrict the combination. And so when we're doing data entry, somebody won't accidentally grab the wrong dimension value. So it's really, really great from a management perspective, because if you go the old school way, like a GP, your chart of account gets really cumbersome, it gets really long, and then when you close locations or you add a new product line and take away a product line, you have all this legacy history in your chart of accounts that's not really, it clogs up the screen and it's not really available, or it shouldn't be shown to you, which is, I think, gets very difficult over time when you have a lot of history. You can block the dimensions, you can inactivate them, so your screens are kept clean from that perspective. So that's a little bit of an explanation here of how the finance side is different. And what I'd like to do next is show you in a financial statement how then these dimensions come to life. So what are called account schedules in BC are your financial reports. You'll see out of the box, there are several that are predefined. You know, your usual suspects. You've got your income statement, you've got your statement of cash flows, a balance sheet. I might click on the P&L here, and it is going to warn me, hey, this is a standard report. Don't you want to make a copy? I'm going to say nope. Don't worry, it's a demo system, so I'm not really, hurting anybody. Here, you're going to see then the layout of this report, and you've got a couple of flavors. You can actually come here and print it, to a PDF. So this is it's not very glamorous per se, but I do want to show you that I've got, if I show more here, I could filter this P&L by those, those dimensions. So if I wanted to only view it by a department, I could, or I might want to view it for all, and I'll go ahead and preview it. So this will come up and preview the P&L just to a PDF, and I can zoom in, I can, print it out. So that's one flavor. I don't love this because it's not really interactive. I can't drill from this PDF. So what I like to do is instead close out my demo system, which will take me a second to get back in, but that's okay. I like to run that financial statement in that navigate view, which is a little bit more flexible and allows me to do more with what I have on screen. So give it a second here. I'm going to get logged back in. If not, I can go over here to Kelly and continue the demonstration. So we'll go back here. Apologize for that. I get a little click happy in the demos. And we'll go back to account schedules, and I'll show you that alternative view. Okay. So this view allows me to actually drill into the transactions that are driving the report. I can also, change the period. So right now it's defaulting to a month, but maybe I want to look at it for the year, and that will update the numbers. I can even look at this on a weekly and daily basis, which is interesting. I can budget, by the way, that way too. But here I'm looking at the month of April for 2020. You'll see that there are some transactions, likely some of the things that I sold earlier while I was prepping. But if I wanted to, again, only view this report by, let's say the sales department, I'll grab that value there on the dimension. Notice the numbers drop off because there weren't any entries made against the sales department. So you can use this to slice and dice the report and get to the right bucket that you're looking for. And we might drill into this product sales to see what was going on. And in here we can see the actual transactions that were driving this $1,900 if we keep clicking. So we can kind of pull the thread all the way to that source invoice to determine what was driving that amount. So that's kind of a quick view. Now the financial reports are also available in Excel. So if you don't like the first two flavors, you can have a third flavor. And then there's a fourth flavor with a third party, such as Jet Reports, which is an Excel-based report writer that's really comprehensive and does a lot of really great things for drill back and getting you answers to questions from a financial reporting perspective. So that's my quick little snapshot of a BC user navigation demo and some high-level financial components. Of course, there's a lot more, as I indicated, even with this Essentials user, there's over 100 modules. So if you are liking what you see, but you want to drill in further, I would encourage you to reach out to your customer account manager or your account executive to help you continue to evaluate the product. What I'd like to do though is finish out the presentation here. Whoops, on this promotion. So you may have heard of it, but what Microsoft is allowing you to do is to evaluate BC kind of on your own time. So as long as you're current on your annual enhancement, or if your annual enhancement only lapsed this year, you can continue to pay that EP. Now, instead of having to pay it all in one big chunk, you get to pay it on a monthly basis. And then with that, they're going to give you a copy of Business Central to use and evaluate. And that will go for as long up to it's offered initially for a year, but you can renew it for 2 additional years. So you'll have 3 years, believe it or not, to evaluate BC. We've seen a lot of our customers, engage Crestwood for a 10 or 20 hour billable engagement, and we can do a mini proof of concept to kind of give you like the additional confidence. But the key here is, one, without having to pay for the BC subscription, you'll get access to the environment, and you can get up to 4x. So it's a 1-to-4 relationship. So if you have, for example, 4 concurrent users, you can get up to 16 named essential users in BC without any additional charge. So there's a capability for you to add more users. You can really dig into it and start testing it out, and that can go for 3 years. And so you've got the capability to also migrate data from the legacy applications using the migration tools. The GP one, I think, is the one that's furthest along, but we'll bring over your chart of accounts. We'll break out those segments into those dimensions. We'll bring over the historical balances by account. We'll bring in your customers, your vendors, your inventory items if you have those with this migration tool, and we'll help you get live and train on Business Central. So it's a great opportunity for you. If depending on how your business has changed and grown over the years, and if you need to get more from your ERP with interacting with mobile and browser and working from home, we're seeing a lot of our customers really getting a lot out of this migration to BC. So that's kind of all I had for today. I do appreciate your time. I will turn it over now to Amber to see if there are any questions, and I'll try to answer them if I can today. If not, we'll follow up. But thank you for your time. I know the lunch hour is precious, and hopefully you got something out of it. Feel free, though, to answer or ask any questions through the browser here, or follow up with your customer account manager with additional questions. Amber, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Jason. We just have 2 quick questions. And as Jason said, everybody, while we're talking, feel free to type any more in. This first one is just asking, can you integrate BC with other programs?
Okay. Yes, BC is very open-ended from an APIs perspective, which is, by the way, how all those different third parties and ISVs are available in App Source. So whereas a GP natively isn't as open, so you're usually using an E1 or a scribe to get data in and out of GP. Here in BC, we do have APIs to get data in and out. So the answer to the question is yes.
Okay, thank you. And this next one is asking about reporting options.
Okay.
They're available for BC.
Reporting options. Okay. Well, we looked a little bit at the financial reports in the finance section there. So you saw the out-of-the-box report writer. If you're talking more about form reports, so like the invoice, for example, or the purchase order, there's 2 avenues for that. There is SRSS reports that are kind of a little bit more technical report writer, and then you can also use Microsoft Word. So Word will using bookmarks allow you to create and design your forms when you run them and print them and send them to your customers or your vendors. So you can have multiple formats. So, certain customers may want one format, certain customers might want another. That's available and fully supported out of the box. So hopefully that answers that question.